Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Welcome to the bonus show. I want to talk about some of the stories from the Arizona trip, some of which involve, or multiple stories, in fact, involve Barack Obama. And they're very interesting, but first I'll cover the other stories. Memory loss associated with Alzheimer's has been reversed for the first time ever. And this is a big deal. And this was done not by having one answer, one miracle drug, or anything like that. It is really just a comprehensive strategy to deal with this and attacking it from many different angles. And these findings are published in the journal Aging. That's what it's called. UCLA was where this happened, and the way they did this was, this is a list of some of the provisions of this process, but eliminating all simple carbohydrates, gluten, and processed food from diet, eating more vegetables, fruits, and non-farmed fish, meditating twice a day and beginning yoga to reduce stress, sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night, going up from 4 to 5, taking melatonin, methylcobalamin, vitamin D3, fish oil, and something called coenzyme Q10, taking those every day, optimizing oral hygiene, reinstating hormone replacement therapy, which I guess for Alzheimer's had been discontinued, fasting for a minimum of 12 hours between dinner and breakfast, and for a minimum of 3 hours between dinner and bed, and exercising at least 30 minutes, 4 to 6 days per week. These are a lot of the big ones, but this seems to have actually reversed memory loss in Alzheimer's patients.
And what's interesting to notice is that it actually says this is understandably a very involved number of steps and provisions, and that none of the patients in the study actually even stuck to this 100%.
It is, there's a lot to do, and it would be, if you still work, I mean, if you have, a large family, you're very busy, you have a lot of things going on, it could be pretty hard to do all of this.
The great thing is, these are all activities and substances that don't appear to have any side effects, negative side effects. In other words, the side effects of this program are mostly just improved physical health.
Right. And what I read this and I was thinking to myself, so if everyone did this anyway, would we not even have Alzheimer's?
I don't know that we can answer that definitively. The idea is that Alzheimer's is in some way connected with contemporary life, and whether that's sedentary life, whether that's diet, exactly what it is I don't know that. I know that we don't yet know nearly enough about Alzheimer's.
That is true, but it does seem that according to these results, it is as common, it is as prevalent as it is because we just do not take care of ourselves and our diets are complete shit.
That seems to be a factor in many or most of what we would consider Western modern diseases.
So some interesting things happening here, and we will continue to follow this. And I think that the pharmaceuticals are probably very upset with this news, seeing as how there does not seem to be any pharmaceutical drugs involved. So I think that's great news. Here's an interesting story. We have not talked about the NFL in quite a while, but a recently drafted rookie linebacker, Chris Borland. This guy, I mean, a lot of people were talking about this guy. He was supposed to be pretty great, and he just announced that he's going to retire because he is worried about brain injury and his health. And it kind of, this is probably been on Sports Center, ESPN, nonstop for many days. But even the major news outlets have been covering this one. And I think this is an interesting move. I'm going to read his quotes here. He said, "I just honestly want to do what's best for my health. From what I've researched and what I've experienced, I don't think it's worth the risk. I feel largely the same, as sharp as I've ever been. For me, it's wanting to be proactive. I'm concerned that if you wait until you have symptoms, it's too late. There are a lot of unknowns, and I can't claim that X will happen. I just want to live a long, healthy life, and I don't want to have any neurological diseases or die younger than I would otherwise." He is sacrificing a lot of money for this. And
for his long-term health, right? He's made,
yeah.
I don't know that everybody is able to put a dollar value on either years of life or quality of life. But for him, he has said the money I'm giving up here is not worth as much as what I think I will lose in terms of my long-term health by playing professional football.
That's it. He's 24. He plans to go back to school, and I doubt he'll be playing football there. But really interesting stuff. Seems like a pretty smart guy, and I wonder if this is the start of a trend. I don't think that the sport is going to is going to die because of this.
No, I don't think the sport will die, but let's look at boxing, for example. Boxing is a sport which is known to significantly impact cognitive brain function, and we know about all the risks with boxing. Boxing is a sport where the overwhelming majority of the audience watching it has never boxed, or certainly not to the extent where you are at the same risk of injury as professional boxers. Maybe football will go more and more in that direction. The demographic makeup of the audience will be more and more people who have not played football. It will become more like boxing in that very few people actually participate.
That could be. As parents keep their children from playing, the more we learn about this, I think that's going to happen. But I still love the sport. I really do. But I say to Mr. Borland, good for you. Not a bad decision. Gotta protect the brain, I guess. All right, Arizona. So the last time I was in Arizona, I did not have any stories like the ones I'm about to tell you.
Yeah, we were both there, and I believe it was May of 2011.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that could be it. So I was there with a friend of mine. His brother lives there. His brother is the friend who is in Border Patrol. Dave came out with his girlfriend, and it was a good time. The weather was perfect, and it was great. And there were a couple of Barack Obama incidents, one of which was prompted by me. The other was completely unprovoked. And I'll start with the way I'll do it in chronological order here. I went to a Walgreens with my friend, and he purchased some stuff, and he was the one paying for it, and he's in line. I'm just kind of waiting there. And the woman behind the counter says, "Would you like to donate to the AIDS Research Foundation," or something like that, some AIDS thing? And he says, "Okay, sure, whatever." And after she puts it in the computer or whatever, and she grabs a little piece of paper that has like the ribbon, and it has a line for her name. And she says, "Well, what should I put for the name to show who donated?" And he was thinking about it for a second, and I just to see the reaction from this woman, I said, "Barack Obama." And she stops, and she just looks at me and gives me this glare. And I knew immediately just what she thought about Barack Obama. And she goes back to writing. She says, "Sorry, that name has an effect on me." And there's a woman who was right behind my friend in line, and she just kind of smiles and nods and says, "I agree with you." And that's pretty much where it stopped.
Yeah.
We just left after that. I don't think she probably thought I was just being funny. I was just being funny. She probably did not think that I loved Obama or that I hated Obama. she just did not like hearing the name Barack Obama. So that was the first one. The second one took place in an Uber vehicle. So we were going back to the hotel from the bars.
And hey, Lewis, just to interject, for people who don't know what Uber is, because I actually run into a lot of people who don't, Uber is a car service. You can basically call a car to give you a ride on a mobile phone application. Depending on what part of the country you're in, they might be licensed under the city's taxi commission, like here in New York City. In other parts of the country, they're not. It's essentially just a private car that's registered with Uber. It picks you up. All the payment is handled through your phone, which already has your credit card preloaded onto it. So it's kind of like a driver service that just brings you from one place to another.
That is correct. So we were in the bars. We were at the bars and clubs in Scottsdale, and it's me, my buddy who was with me at the Walgreens, and another friend of mine who also joined us in Arizona. And we are driving back to the hotel in this car. We're talking with the guy. We're shooting the shit. We're talking about Arizona and Scottsdale, and he's talking about being an Uber driver. And we are about 30 seconds away from the hotel when I think someone mentioned something about the economy. And completely unprovoked, he just says, do you know who we need for president? And we're like, well, who? He says, Donald Trump. I could tell he was serious.
Yeah.
I just kind of look at my friend. I was in the back seat, and I'm thinking, oh God, Donald Trump for president. And he says, and we're like, really? What, Donald Trump? And he's like, yeah, he knows about money. He knows about the economy. And my friend sitting in the front says, yeah, I don't think he'd be great on foreign affairs, though. And he probably wouldn't be great with money either. He's gone bankrupt how many times?
His businesses have. I don't think personally he has.
Yeah. But, then right after that, he says, Barack Obama, he's not from here. And I'm thinking, oh God, this guy, I would not have guessed. I would not have guessed talking to him the whole time that he would have had these ideas. But he says, Barack Obama's not from here. Yeah, he's not from this country.
Can you imagine if it's just like, let's assume for a second you had never heard that before, right? Like you had no idea about the birth certificate stuff, the birther controversy, Kenyan, Muslim, Indonesian, none of that stuff. Does he think that by him merely saying, hey, just so you know, the president's not American, would the average person, if they hadn't heard of that, say, hey, I was coming all along this time thinking that President Obama was American. My Uber driver in Arizona told me that he's not. Obama's clearly not American.
Well, that's what he did, right? I mean, presumably before all that stuff started, and it all started after he became president, he thought that Barack Obama was a citizen and was born in the United States. And then someone comes along, okay, maybe not an Uber driver, maybe someone like
Fox News, for example.
Rush or Fox News, and someone says to him, hey, Obama's not from here. And he says, oh, okay, Obama's not from here. And so my friend who was in the back with me says, well, why would that even matter? I don't even, it doesn't even matter. And we were pretty much getting out of the car at that time. So it didn't really have a chance to escalate.
Right.
But anytime the economy or the name of the president came up, something like that happened in Arizona. And of course, Arizona is very red.
It is, but I mean, percentage-wise, the thing is, there's still a lot of Democrats in Arizona. Arizona in presidential elections is actually, it's not overwhelmingly red, but I agree that we kept running into seemingly the most right-wing of right-wing people. I had a right-wing Uber driver in Detroit pick me up at the airport, and he had his mobile phone app mounted. His mobile phone was mounted in a very prominent way, and all the apps were like Bible for kids, and then things like the Breitbart and apps connected to right-wing shows or publications or whatever. But it didn't come up at all. I had one incident with a right-winger in Arizona. It was an autistic right-winger. This is a super just random thing. Lewis was there. We were at the pool of the hotel where we were staying. We're in this lazy river thing where you sit on like a blow up donut and it takes you around the path, the water path, whatever you call it. And this guy comes up to us, and you can tell right away that there's some kind of something is affecting his ability to interact in what we would consider kind of a normal way, a traditional way. And he says, "Oh, hey, I'm whatever his name is. Who are you?" And we introduced ourselves. Seems perfectly nice. It's very clear. And then his mom, who was on the side of the pool, confirmed to us, "Oh, he's autistic." And that's fine. He was chatting with us. Where are you from? How old are you? You know, stuff like that. And then I just mentioned that I live in New York. And with no hesitation, he goes right in, Lewis, and he says, "Bill de Blasio's delusional." And I'm like, "Oh, really? I don't know anything about his mental state, you know?" And he says, "Yeah, he said such and such. He's delusional." And I say, "Oh, okay." And there are some good politicians up there, though, like Chris Christie. He's a good guy. I go, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, Chris Christie's good. You know, not as good as Scott Walker." And I say, "Oh," and he said immediately, "Would you vote for Scott Walker for president?" And I say, "No, I probably wouldn't. No, that's not really my thing." And he says, "But I've known this guy 5 minutes." He says, "But if Scott Walker was the best candidate, would you vote for him?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I mean, if he was the best candidate, then I would vote for him. That's true." He says, "Oh, okay, that's good." And then he said, so you're from New York?" And I say, "No, I'm actually from Massachusetts." And then with no hesitation, I mean, I guess I could have said I'm from Argentina, but whatever. With no hesitation, he says, "Elizabeth Warren's a liar. She claimed to be 196th Native American, but it's not true. She said it to get hired at Harvard." And I just was very polite. I said, "Really? I had never heard that before. I didn't know about that." He said, "Yeah." And ultimately, he just had to leave, you know, or something like that. But what was disturbing to me was how incredibly right-wing this guy was, in the absence of seemingly, you know, he was very focused on the politics of every place we were talking about and really wanted me to know about all the delusional and crazy lefties.
Yeah, his focus seemed to be solely on politics, and I guess, probably a result of his parents being that way. I mean, you know, are they hardcore right wingers who focus on all of that stuff and discuss it with him?
I would guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but it seemed that his focus was pretty much just on politics. I wasn't involved in that conversation, but I think he did. He stopped by again later and asked me something. I don't really remember what it is, but yeah, that was an interesting one. Of course, that was at like a resort, and they were not necessarily from Arizona, right?
No, yeah, but I mean, I think locals sometimes go to this place to hang out. Yeah. But I think he said he was. He actually did say he lived in Illinois.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, lots of interesting stories like that in Arizona. And I'm sure if we spent more time there, imagine if I just prompted people, random people, about Barack Obama, the things I would have heard. But anyway, maybe next time I'm in Arizona. That's it for today.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.